What's up guys, it's Billy from Strikes and Subs, and today I'll be giving my thoughts and opinions on UFC Fight Night Anderson vs Blachowicz 2. Now obviously this is my opinion, so feel free to voice your own in the comments, but go about it the right way. For some reason my internet was playing up over the weekend, so I was unable to upload my predictions. However, I had Venata, Borg, Weaver, De La Rosa, Pereira, and Anderson to win. So if I got those up, that would be 4 out of the 6. Obvious talking points from the event are all the DQs on the main card and the result coming from the main event, all of which we'll be discussing in today's video. So firstly out of the two, we'll be discussing the 2 DQs that came within the main card. Firstly, we'll discuss the disqualification that came from the Brock Weaver versus Rodrigo Vargas fight. Well, pretty much what was happening was Weaver was going for some sort of submission, maybe like an armbar, Kimura type thing. He dropped onto his butt, and then Vargas managed to wriggle out of it, and then absolutely slammed him with his knee right into the side of Weaver's head. And it was pretty brutal. Like, Weaver actually got knocked out from this knee. The ref jumped in instantly, waved it off. He did not even check with Weaver to see if he was all there. There's positives and negatives to this. Obviously, the first priority of the referee is to look out for the safety of the fighter while managing the rules of the fight. And Vargas, was that knee illegal? Absolutely. It was disgusting to see. But from Vargas' point of view, like, you're in a fight. You're not necessarily... I can't speak for myself, as I'm not a fighter, but I assume that when you're in a fight, your goal is to either knock out that person or submit them as soon as possible and to the best of your abilities without getting knocked out or submitted yourself. So you're going to try to do everything in your power to damage that person. Do I think that he knew the rule? Obviously, I do. But however, I don't think he might have been thinking in the right way at the moment. In saying that though, the referee probably was in the right to wave off the fight instantly, considering that Weaver was clearly knocked out. Like, we heard from the referee's microphone, well, whatever he wears, that we can hear the audio, that Weaver didn't really know where he was. He didn't know what happened, which is pretty scary given the knee. So this was a clear disqualification. It sort of sucks though, considering it was first round. However, Weaver has agreed to give Vargas a rematch, which, I don't know, it could come pretty soon, I guess. Neither fighters seem to take too much damage. This was also Brock Weaver's UFC debut, and a lot of people were excited from it. They liked his fight in the Dana White Contender series, and they didn't really get to see too much of what he got to bring to the table. So he's hoping they can go again and we can get a real good fight out of it. Next, the main disqualification that everyone is talking about is in the fight between Diego Sanchez and Michael Pereira. Pereira, just like in the Brock Weaver versus Rodrigo Vargas fight, absolutely nailed Sanchez with a knee. However, the ref didn't quickly wave this one off. He gave Sanchez the 5 minutes to recover during this allocated time in order to give Sanchez a true gauge of whether he could or could not continue. Obviously, he decided that he could not continue, and then the ref waved it off, gave it a DQ. He didn't give it a no contest, which is a bit interesting. However, it did come as a result of the illegal knee. Many people are saying online that that Sanchez just completely bitched out of it, and that Pereira was just absolutely tearing him a new one. He's going to get the decision win over Sanchez. But afterwards, Sanchez just posted to Instagram, and he said that this is not the case. He had a massive cut on his head, which is bad. I don't think he was feeling all that well in the head, I guess, which sounds a bit mean, but in terms of like concussions and head injuries and stuff, checking out the stats, he's now moved to second of all-time head strikes, like strikes to the head that he's received. First there's only BJ Penn, which is pretty scary when all that stuff about concussion and head injuries and, I don't know, mental stuff comes out. It's pretty scary stuff. But yeah, this was a fair disqualification. However, I don't know, if I was Pereira, I'd be a little bit salty about it, because it seemed in the moment that Sanchez probably could continue. And could have he continued? Probably. But like he didn't have to because he was clearly injured. He was clearly knocked senseless. So it probably was the smart option to preserve more future in his career and take the win or take the no contest, which you may have thought at the time. It might have been a no contest. Would I want to see this rematch? Not really. Pineda was doing really well against him, so I like to see him move on to bigger and better things. After the fight, the UFC also announced that they were returning to Dublin for a fight night card. Conor McGregor called out Sanchez for this, which is pretty funny, but it's not going to happen. There's no way the UFC would put Conor McGregor on a fight night card. Plain and simple. They're only going to use him for pay-per-view. He is their biggest attraction pretty much ever, I reckon. So there's no way they're going to waste him on the fight night. Now we're going to move on to the main event and the result. Not everyone, but I would say 60 to 70% of the community felt that Anderson was going to beat Blachowicz fairly comfortably during this fight, especially after that massive knockout of Johnny Walker. However, Jan pulled it out. He slipped in with a left, instantly dropped Anderson, and then he threw a massive hammer fist right at him, which was just utter craziness. It was sort of like when Jorge Masvidal kneed Ben Askren job, and he threw that hammer fist at him. It was scary as. Straight after the fight, Jan went right to the side of the cage and was pretty much at John Jones, and he's like, when and where, mate? Like, he's calling for his shot at the title, and it seems that John Jones wants to fight Jan. And it's a bit weird because do I feel that Jan is the next title shot contender, if you will? Probably. Does he deserve the next title shot? Probably not. I feel that Reyes absolutely deserves the next title shot. However, given the scenario, it does generally seem that if a contender loses to the champion, the next fight, it generally won't be the same contender. However, they could potentially get put into a number one contenders fight. So what I see realistically happening here is Jan Blachowicz, that is, fighting John Jones mid-year, maybe like July, June, August, that type of time. And in the co-main event of that card, I would put a number one contender fight between Thiago Santos and Dominic Reyes. Like, this makes the most sense. Both of those men took it to John Jones. Santos won a decision from the fight against Jones, and everybody thought that Reyes won all the judges' scorecards against Jones. So having those guys fight for the number one contendership makes perfect sense. I would have, obviously, since it's a number one contender fight, I would have the winner of that face the winner of that facing the winner of Jones versus Blachowicz. However, if Blachowicz wins somehow, it's very, very hard to see how Jones doesn't get an immediate rematch, given that he is like one of the GOATs of the current UFC landscape, and that he is one of the most dominant champions. However, I feel that if Jones wins, which is all but likely, the loser of the Santos Reyes fight should then take on a returning Alexander Gustafsson in another number one contenders fight. And although it's a bit dodgy that a loser of a number one contender fight fights for another number one contender fight, that both men deserve another title shot. However, it doesn't make sense that they're just going to walk into it. They somewhat have to earn it. And what better way to earn it with either winning a fight against one another or winning a fight against Alexander Gustafsson, another man who brought a big challenge to John Jones. So to summarize, Jan, he's going to get the next title shot. He deserves it. However, the light heavyweight division is just real murky and confusion at the moment. You've got Reyes and Santos, who both sort of deserve title shots. You've got Smith there in the background. You got Daniel Cormier, who's still in the rankings, which is a bit odd considering he hasn't fought there in 4 years maybe. And then you've also got the returning Alexander Gustafsson to factor in, which is it's a bit of a mess. So to summarize the video, those were my talking points from the Jan vs Anderson fight night. Leave your thoughts and opinions of the card in the comments below. Obviously, the main talking points were both of those DQs, which set the record for the most DQs in a main card with 2. Additionally, Jan winning this fight has made the light heavyweight picture much more murky. Like, does he get the title shot, or does Reyes get it? What happens with Santos? And then Corey Anderson, what do you do with him now? So it's going to be an interesting year for the light heavyweight division, and we look forward to see what happens next.